Hey friends, here is the CaDA 1/8 scale Lotus Exige Cup 430. Beautiful set. It is set number C61511W with 3,730 pieces. The designer is got a signature here, Suwon G, and it is officially licensed by Lotus. Here's the back of the box. Another view of this beautiful model and some of the close-ups as well. The top comes off, full gearbox, and different things move, and there's a way to change the gears. That's a special way. So I've cut the seals. There's a bunch all the way around here already. Let's open it up. In this video, we're going to unbox. We'll take a look at what's inside, and you get a sense for what you're in for. And then I have something special planned for this particular model, which I will share later. All right, so opening it up. Let's take a look at the presentation, which is typically for these models, it's just as good as what you'd see from Lego. I mean, they've just really thought about how to make the packaging beautiful. So look at this. It's 4 separate boxes. And then this main box here, every box has, parts in it, of course. Underneath that main box is the instruction manual, and it's in the sealed bag in order to prevent it from getting all banged up. But let's take a look at these. We're going to take all of them out, and we'll look at the parts and what's inside each of them. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so here's everything unboxed. This box has bags 1 through 2, plus a couple of unnumbered bags that are general parts that you're going to be using throughout, such as these pins, lots and lots of pins. And then box 2 has bags 3 and 4. This one has bags 5 and 6. Then the last box has bags 7 and 8, plus the wheels and the tires. And we'll take a closer look at those in 1 second. But it's your typical Technic construction, and everything is printed here. So, for example, here's a placard that says Lotus, and the big placard that it comes with is also printed, which is terrific, and it's a pretty good print as well. So I love that. And as far as what I'm seeing here, I love this dark green that they're using. And there are some pieces in here that I have not personally seen. For example, this fender piece. I haven't seen that in the old Lego Technic pieces before. Let me know if this is something that Lego also makes, that really thin fender. And I'm in the middle of building this guy right here, the AMG GT3. And this is how far I got. This is just the first, I want to say it's the first box, maybe a little more. And that's how far I've gotten. I think it's called phase 1 is what we're calling it, out of 3. So that's how far I got on that. And it is a commitment because you have to pay attention to what you're doing, So same here. If you're looking to build this, I recommend that you set aside a lot of time, a lot of space as well. Open up just the first set and clear a lot of space for it. Get yourself some sorting trays. I like to use trays like this that have felt in them, and the brighter ones are better because you can find the darker pieces a little bit easier, and just work your way through it. And as I mentioned with the AMG in my unboxing on that one, this is a high-end set that is really not intended for somebody who's never built a Technic set like this before. So if you've built one like this before, I think you're in great shape. Build this one, you'll be happy. But if you're a parent or a grandparent looking to gift this to a child, then I think you should probably consider whether they've built a large-scale Technic set before from Lego. If the answer is no, then you probably don't want to buy this for them because it's going to be on the more complicated side, and it's going to probably be more of a challenge for them, and they may end up being quite frustrated because as you saw with my model, you don't have a lot of, what is it called? You don't see a lot of rewards even after getting a whole like third of the way through it. It doesn't look anything like what you're thinking, right? And this is a whole third of the way through it, and only now are you starting to see some things that you're familiar with. But look at this gearbox. I mean, holy cow. And if you make a mistake, um, it is really hard to unwind those mistakes, because you have to go backwards and disassemble everything exactly the way you assembled it. And sometimes that's really hard to do because you some of those, there's like 6 or 7 pins that get pushed in at once, and how do you know how to separate it in just the right way? So it's really like a very complicated puzzle that needs to be disassembled in a very um, specific manner. All right, so there's all the different parts. And I like that they bagged these headlight covers individually, the left and right. I appreciate that they did that. Keeps them nice and pristine. And then I don't know if we did a closer look at the tires and the wheels. Here are the tires, they're directional, and they are marked with their size as well. Size is 80 by 44 is what's printed on there. And then here's the wheels, very faithful to the Lotus. I think these may be custom for this model, so that they have an accurate wheel design. I like that a lot. And then in the model, it has a 1x1 tile that goes right in the center here. It's yellow and it says Lotus on it, so that's really cool. Okay, so this model comes with 2 books. They're perfect bound, matte finish, very nice. Book 1, we'll start with book 1. It has beautiful photography, product photography for the actual car. One of the benefits of being officially licensed is you get access to these photos. Maybe you get to go there and see the model, or see the real car and examine it the way that the Lego folks do. Um, and so they've actually done side by sides just to let you appreciate the amount of care they put into it. And they did a pretty darn good job. That it's hard to capture this curve right here. They did their best to do that. And there's this inlet. The motor is in the back here. And the fenders, that's always going to be really hard. So they did that with a 2-piece. And the back here has pretty decent shaping. It doesn't lean back the way it should. And the license plate, yeah, that's in the right place too. So they've done an okay job. At a glance, you'll know what car this is, right? So they did a side by side for the side view. So that's how much faith they have in the model that they've created. They know that they've been as faithful as they possibly could. And here's a look at the wheels, so that you can just see how careful they were to recreate what you see there. And there is a motor. And my understanding is that the motor cover comes off and you can see the pistons moving. So as you're changing gears, the idea is that you'll see the pistons change speed too. The top comes off so that you can make it a convertible. The back here opens up so you can get access to the motor. I think the bonnet is supposed to open up as well, but I might be wrong. And then there is this key that you put in order to change the gears. This doesn't come with any motors or any other like pneumatics or things like that you might see in some of the other CaDA sets, but this is how you change the gears. Here's the gearbox. You can see it's quite intricate. Lots going on there. Shaping for the front. And then there is an introduction by the designer. So he introduces himself. Look at this. He's a high school student. Are you kidding me? So he's good for him. He's done a great job for himself, designing for an international toy company. Good job. And here's some information about sizing, and then the brick separator, how to use the brick separator. It does come with one, by the way. And then it tells you about the different bags and what those bags will build. Another great photo of the gearbox and what to expect there. And so This is almost always the way you start is one of these Technic square frames, and you start building out. It looks like here we're probably working on the differential, something like that. And it starts easy, thank goodness. And oh, pretty quickly we're all the way to a brake rotor. Not too far into it, you're already at the brake rotors. That's kind of cool. So now we're building both of the suspension pieces there, and more of the gearbox. And I don't know enough about Technic to tell you exactly what's going on here. But you can see that if you were to make a mistake, backtracking would be potentially pretty laborious. I made a mistake on my AMG that I'm working on, and luckily it only took me about half an hour to backtrack. Here's a hose. I think that is not a functional hose, but this is potentially for the air. So it's a simulation for where the air comes in to help cool probably the motor. All right, and then we're getting to the motor cover. So here you can see the pistons through the head. Here's the cover. Does the whole thing? Yeah, it fits in there. I'll probably speed this up. I'm not looking at every single page, but just giving you a flavor for what to expect if you're to build this. Look at this box. It's so sturdy. I think that's, oh, this is the front. I don't know if this is a functional gear lever. I did notice that we have steering. So the steering actually goes through that firewall, and you can control it with the steering wheel that's in the cockpit, in the cabin. We'll move the steering for the wheels on the front of the car. So those are connected. It also has working suspension. So you can see, at least in the front, we've got 2 springs per side. And that's terrific. These cars get so incredibly heavy that I'm sure they realized we needed to do 2 springs up there. Otherwise the car would just sink to the ground because it's incredibly heavy. I think we just built the seats just now, and we've got quite a bit of that cabin. So yeah, here's where we're at. Seats, a little bit of the bodywork, side skirts here, and a little bit of that interior. All right, and then book 2, it jumps straight in where we left off, and it looks like we're putting on fenders, a little bit more body work. So that's rewarding. You just start to see it coming together at the halfway point. That's terrific. And it looks like the sides are really built up, that you gotta kind of step over to get into the cabin. I wonder if the real car is like that. I've been in a Lotus before, and it did feel like that. It felt like there was a huge threshold to step over, and that you were sitting right next to the driver, or they're sitting right next to each other. I wonder if that's something that they're trying to recreate here too. The wing, not bad. Does it angle? I don't think so. I don't think it's adjustable in any way. I like that British flag. Here is another body panel. Here's that gas fill cover. Starting to build the seats now. They look like they're like racing bucket seats. And there they are, 2 of them side by side. They go in there. So you can see we've got the steering wheel in there now, and it's got this couple of universal joints in order to transfer the motion to the actual steering rack. So we're at the front grille, license plate. So you're seeing a lot of it come together now, starting to take form. in the home stretch. Good shaping up here to try and create all of that for the front bumper and the front bonnet. And these, I wonder if they're intercoolers or if they're functional in any way. I don't know enough about the actual vehicle. We're here, we're building the hardtop that is removable. These may be the doors. We're doing the wheels. There are those little pieces that I mentioned. And then we're all the way to the inventory. So here's the very end. It's showing the key that you put in there, that the motor cover opens up. Looks like you can put the key, the key goes here, I think, to change the gearing. Is that what it is? And is this for storage, or is this actually, I don't know. I don't know the difference between putting the key here versus putting it here. If you know the reason, leave a comment, let me know what the difference is. And then as far as the doors go, they open up. Do you use the key for the doors? Is that what that's saying? I don't know what that is. That's interesting. I don't know why the key is being inserted and then they're showing you the doors. That's interesting. I would think that the doors just open, but maybe you do that as a way to unlock the doors. I'm not sure. All right, there you go. And then lots of inventory pieces here. You can see the different pages for it. All right, so there's your look. I hope this was cool for you. Got to see everything that you wanted to see. And like the video if you like it. And subscribe, and I'll be able to keep sharing with you unusual sets. And thanks so much.